The good news I find is that more and more people are voicing their the fact that they're not agreeing with it, and media is seeing, how media is, they're seeing that not only a lot of people think a different way, but there's money to be done by making these people happy. So I feel a lot of counter voices are more and more heard, which is good. But there's still a tendency, because it's easy and it's buyable, and it's, to me, like anything that's too present and too force-fed is oppressing by definition. And when you look at a lot of the media, when you look at pop stars, when you look at reality TV stars, when you look at magazines, it's always, this is not new. It's just I'm voicing the fact that I feel oppressed by it, and that my art is my way of giving my opinion. That's just mine. It's not the truth at all. It's one of the truth, which is mine. But I'm trying to just say it's just as valid, and it's just a way for me to exist by being the counter, in my opinion, a counter woman. Sexuality in an object instead of a subject. Like, women's sexuality is still very much everywhere now, and it could be interpreted as a sexual liberation, and I think until a certain point it is. But I feel that it's very much sold to us as how to please the other, and usually the male. And that is how a woman is successfully sexual. And I don't think that is how we should come to it. I think a woman is successfully sexual when she knows herself. She does it for herself. If she likes her body or her nudity, it's not as an act of seduction. It has to be in an act of self-love. And then you can seduce as something else, because we live in a society where people seduce each other, and that's just a natural thing, and that's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but it should not be why you're sexual and where you start your sexuality, as a seduction or as a definition of you towards the other. Now we see with Instagram and those selfies and likes and all that stuff, a lot of those girls will get really, really sexual, or in the way they pose, not necessarily naked, because there's a difference between vulgarity and nudity that I feel is extremely important and should never be simplified. But it's like a need of self-definition in the eye of the other, and usually the other is a male or males in a straight world, but this is what I'm going to go with right now. And I think it's just wrong in general to define yourself with the validation of others, especially when it's going to be through your sexuality, because it's the easiest to get any attention.
We are going to take back the territory that has been robbed from us, our own bodies.
Women have not been, they have not been owning their sexuality. Like, it was either church, or it was either any religious power, or just men telling women how to be a woman and how to be sexual, and how to be sexual usually, as an object and not as a subject. And I think today it still lingers in advertising and in everything, because there's money to be done by that. So it's like they haven't really given back to us. They still have it, and they're selling us our sexual freedom with a lot of sex everywhere through pop stars, through magazines, through reality TV, and being like, look, no, see, it's cool, we're selling it's sex, it's women that are liberated, but they're selling it to us. That's not how it goes. It goes by educating young women, that it's okay to be sexual and to explore their own sexuality before they explore men's sexuality, which usually is the case still today. I knew how to give pleasure to a man before I knew how to give pleasure to myself fully, because I had all those voices and I was kind of almost ashamed of going there. And that should never be the case. That's so messed up. I don't know a single guy that knew how to finger a girl properly before he knew how to jerk himself off. Not a single one. Girls, it's not as easy. And even when it comes to orgasm, even when it comes to, demanding a certain amount of pleasure, or just, having sex not to please a guy or to, but because you feel like it or you want to be pleased, it's still really not there. Equality-wise, not there. It's just my way of saying these are the women that we should celebrate, because there's so many wonderful women out there, and I feel that society, again, because it's consumption, it's money and everything, they're celebrating all the wrong women for all the wrong reasons. And, that's fucked up. That is not how we should teach our girls. This is not what a woman can be. Just that, pretty and successful and making money and, having pretty dresses. And no, that's not what you should aspire to. You should aspire to, be Malala. You should aspire to be Ellen Keller. You should aspire to be Simone de Beauvoir. They're so much greater. The other women that are celebrated in pop culture, good for them in a way. But there's too much attention on that, and as a society, we should not be celebrating that more than, oh, it's entertaining. We should. There is so many wonderful role models.